Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to SevTech Ages. So, since the last episode, I have been busy, very busy, in this castle area, working on the courtyard, and kind of starting to build the castle up. Now, where it's up to right now, I went ahead and just built up to get some of this stuff out of the way, and where it's at right now is going to be the final height before there's, like, variation, you know, like towers and stuff like that coming up. Let's actually pop over here first, so you can kind of see it at a distance. I mean, this thing's getting big. It's getting fairly large. So, and actually I have to show you the Rotunda too, because I have been working on that. So that's the height currently, and then from there it's going to have, you know, some platforms that come off, and towers are going to start connecting over to, you know, external towers and all that stuff. And a bit ago, I broke 300 castle blocks on this. Not to mention, like, stacks of marble. I know I've used over, like, 32 stacks of sooty marble. Something like that altogether. I had to go and farm up more marble. My inventory is terrible right now. We're going to be using all this today. So, I went ahead and just pulled it all out. But, anyways, let's go over to the Rotunda first. I have not 100% finished this roof, but I have, you can see where I've got cobble placed out. That's all going to be covered. And the roof's going to kind of dome upwards on the interior, and then the top is going to be more flattened from that point. So, working on that, working on this, it's a huge project, it really is. Using a lot of castle bricks and variations of castle bricks, and then a lot of ferrocolite, which luckily is super common in the underground. A bit of marble, which is becoming tough to farm up. I mean, I can get it fairly quick, but it just takes... there's not huge deposits of marble. You know, you get like maybe 20, 30 per deposit. There's usually a lot of deposits, but it just takes a while to run through. So what this is this is going to be a platform that kind of a walkway, so to speak, that overlooks the plaza. It's going to run around the full area of the plaza, and it's going to connect to, you know, different interior spaces. Like over here is going to have an interior space. All back in here is going to have interior. Over there, I'm debating between having like some interior rooms above these, like where the walkways come up and there's the bushes, and then over there as well. Debating between having rooms or exterior little platforms to stand on. Let's see, this floor here is a combination of blue schist and ferrocolite. And then we have the bold castle brick tiles, which you can just craft those. They're fairly easy to craft. And then I've got to put plants up in here and everything. Over here is going to be... there's probably going to be a couple... I'm debating between putting vendors in there or just leaving it as like a clean open plaza with maybe like a little bit of decoration. And then having the vendors over in this section, perhaps. In like little stalls. And then we'll have like the main roadway that connects out. And then I'm thinking about doing a gate using Better with Mods, kind of like the, but I think we have to wait till the next stage before we can get iron walls. But we could make those like rays and make like a or not a drawbridge, but a portcullis gateway. And then once we step inside, we have a combination of thick castle bricks and chiseled crag rock as the floor. Then these are ferrocolite pillars, and then I've got, these are silver bale leaves that kind of run around this. This is low-grade charcoal, by the way, with chiseled. It's a combination of castle roof tiles and crag rock. I actually quite like the way it turned out. Originally, I just had the fire on the water, and it looked all kinds of wrong. Like I mean, it just looked like fire coming up out of the water, so I did like little braziers right through there. And then I'm probably going to add maybe some lily pads and stuff in here. Or actually, maybe not lily pads. I've got... my bags are a mess. Is building huge water lilies. I'm thinking about using those from Twilight Forest to decorate that little area. And then I've got these huge rooms, and then I've got entrance right there. I'm going to have an entrance on the other one as well, on the other section. But these huge rooms, then I'm going to have big staircases that go up to the next level. And I'm getting to the point where it's actually kind of hard to build upwards. I need to get the floor down on that second floor there, which will make it a bit easier. But and this runs through, and then I've got a tree there. A rogue sapling grew and created a big tree right there. But Anyways, it's steadily coming together. It's a lot of like in the works. It's starting to come together, but I just need so many castle blocks. I need so much crag rock. I need so much ferrocolite. And one of the blocks I was considering using for this build, I cannot get until age 3 because it's in the nether. Which creates a little bit of an issue at the moment, but luckily we're not too far from age 3. And then I kind of did these little decorations. I'm going to have some exterior color on this, but I'm waiting because one of the colors that I might possibly use, I'm still debating. One of the colors I might possibly use is that block that's not available till the 3rd age. So, I'm not for sure. But I'm going to have some colors behind those crosses and those lines. So that section's going to kind of pop. I'm debating between a couple different blocks. And then I'm also going to do like some colors that kind of accent some of these blocks and kind of have them run around, you know, the windows and things like that. But it's a massive, massive project. But luckily we're almost, actually the height on that is about 109, I think, right now, up to the top of that. So we're almost, I mean, we're about to be hitting like usable area, but past, I think it's like 120, 125 is when the Astral sorcery stuff kind of caps out. So we'll be able to start putting down altars. It's probably going to be temporary, and honestly I may not even move the altars over here until I get the permanent placement. And that's because I've moved them off the top of the totem to a place that's a bit more effective. I was looking around the Twilight Forest. There, like I said, there's a bunch of, what am I, okay, it's still in here. My Phosic Resonator, I moved it off of the totem that was up there because that was just kind of unwieldy to get up there. Plus I kind of want to get that stuff moved so I can put the elevator in that as well as in that. I'm probably just going to do them both at the same time. But honestly, you know, being on a server, usually people are sleeping. Plus we have a lot of like, newer people and everything. Right now I'm on the server with Galahad, Neogril, Sneaky Seraphim, and Faraday 326. And I looked around the Twilight Forest because I was thinking about moving it to the Twilight Forest, but there wasn't really a good star field really close by to my portal. I didn't want to have to run very far. So what I ended up doing was I set it up in the hunting dimension. And this place is just like Twilight Forest. You know, it's got the eternal night, so you always have the starlight available. And since we've lit this place up pretty well, it's not too difficult to set up our altar over here. So here it is. And you can see, I mean, I've got a pretty decent star field right here on this altar. So we're going to be using this spot until we move it to the overworld, which will be fine. It's not too much of a run. The only downside is my portal actually takes me out to Wega's base. I could set up another portal like closer to this, and my base should connect to it. Well, no, actually I'm south. Now I have to set it farther. I'm just going to leave it where it's at. I come out at Wega's base, but it's, I mean, it's like 2 jumps and I'm back at my base. So what's funny over here, actually, if we pop right over here, look at this star field. Like, that's an incredible star field, right? Like, it's a pretty dense one. This is more close to what I have at the castle. Except the castle one's not quite as bright of starlight. But I mean, this is a pretty large star field right here. So I considered using that one, but honestly this one's going to be fine for our needs. So we'll stick with this one. And I did bring a crafting table over here, so we'll have, you know, like a standard crafting table to use. And I'm just going to set this up right over here. I don't like putting things on the altar if I can avoid it. And let's go ahead and pull that off. For some reason, I found that I carry that thing in my offhand like all the time of late. I don't know why, but I do. But anyways, before we have a lot to cover within Astral Sorcery. We're probably going to spend, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 episodes on it, and then move over to Abyssal Craft, and probably at the end of the week hit Age 3 is kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. Because honestly, I mean, there's a ton of Astral Sorcery to do, and this pack like unlocks like the majority of Astral Sorcery, minus a couple things in Age 2. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to upgrade our altar. Go ahead and go for the next tier. We could go ahead and start getting into Attunement right now, but I've got the stuff on me to go ahead and upgrade this. It's actually very, very cheap. So I figure we might as well go ahead and do that. Okay, and we're going to need to get ourselves 2 cave illuminators to upgrade this, and I'm also probably going to want one of these for personal use. They're really useful because you put them down and they illuminate all the caves below them and near them. So they're really good for lighting up a lot of caves. I want to use it around the base, light everything up underground so we have better mob spawning, and in the swamp biome, it's going to light that area up. It's going to keep mobs from spawning. By the way, I did die one time. You can see I'm up to 20 deaths now. I was cleaning up that swamp. I was cleaning up a lot of that flowing liquid just to kind of get it out of the way, and I accidentally stepped into the anti-fluid. I can't think of what it's called, but not liquid death, whatever it is. But anyways, it killed me. Like, I was out of it within like half a second, but it was long enough to put that debuff on me, and it's like tick 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 tick, you're dead. Like, it was so quick. There wasn't a whole lot I could do about it in that split second. So anyways, let's go ahead and get ourselves, I'm going to go ahead and make a cave illuminator for our personal use, because they are useful. And then we also need illumination powder. I may or may not have this in a rogue chest somewhere, but it is craftable with glowstone. Even though glowstone's still an unfamiliar item to us, we can craft that using glowstone. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And one thing I would really like to go for today is an easier way to generate star metal ingots and star metal powder, or stardust, I mean. Because that stuff is kind of a nuisance, because you have to go out and find the rock crystal. I mean, there's really not another way to make stardust. You can make star metal ore, but to make star metal ore, it takes 2 stardust. So there's not, there's not really a really good way to make this. I've got this recipe here, but that's like, I don't know, ground up quartz or something. Black quartz, I think. I don't know. But it's not really a great way to go about that. So let's go ahead, and the next tier altar. I semi-remember the recipe for it. The Celestial Altar. This right here. So we're going to need 2 cave illuminators, a firefly jar. And I should have like pretty much everything for this ready to go. We're going to need 2 live roots. We are going to need decorative maze stone, mosaic, and chiseled. Like that. And then we are going to need, oh yeah, I forgot ironwood. We're also going to need a rock crystal right there, but I have to pop back into the overworld real quick to go get an ingot of ironwood. I've got like 4 or 5 stacks of it. And it's just I forgot to bring one. First rule of Minecraft, you will always forget something that you need. Always. And honestly, I'd say second rule of Minecraft is that you will always, whenever you look through a bag or a chest to try to find something, you will never be able to spot what you're looking for. You'll spot everything else, but you will not spot what you're looking for. And I didn't get as much done this weekend as I was hoping to. A lot of that is due to real life stuff. I went too far. For some reason, I've been over at the castle so much, I just skip this and go straight for the castle every single time. But I had a bunch of real life stuff and house related stuff. I mean, it's less than a month minimum or maximum that we'll be moving. So we're starting to kind of get ready for that and starting to get things together. And I don't need to go in that portal. Starting to get into, that moving zone. So it is taking a little bit of my time. And then in addition, I did pick up this weekend, Tokyo Ghoul live action came out. So if you're a fan of Tokyo Ghoul, or if you're a fan of just good movies in general, as long as you like foreign films, it is excellent. Excellent. Even as a standalone, even if you don't watch the anime, it's still awesome. Okay, so Celestia Altar. This is kind of nice, just being able to craft this anytime. Just, here you go. And I will have to upgrade the structure a little bit once we craft this, because it does require a slightly larger structure, but that's fine. We can still craft using these slots, we just can't use the additional slots until we upgrade the altar size. This thing takes a while. You'll notice we get some really cool particle effects, though. I love Astral Sorcery. It is a very pretty mod. And there we go. There is our new Celestial Altar, which adds these 3 slots on each corner. Or actually, I'm sorry, no, just these 2, right? Yeah, just these 2, but even still. And then there's still 1 altar above that. It's going to take a little bit for us to get up to, because it does require the celestial or attuned celestial crystals and then resonating gems, which we have to get into Infusion, which really isn't that big of a deal. Okay, so if we take a look in here, we do have another tab here, the Constellation tab. But if we take a look into Attunement, I want to go ahead and upgrade the altar so that we have the max size. And we're going to cover all this stuff that's in here. I just wanted to go ahead and get that altar crafted because I had the stuff, really easy craft, and go ahead and knock it out. Okay, so this is the structure that we need now. So it's 11 by 5 by 11. And I'm going to have to pretty much redo everything. I think this is, it's a 7 by 7 of sooty marble. right there. So I'm going to have to tear all of this down. Okay, we are now sitting at a cool 129 Y level. I know you guys are probably wondering why I had it down there. That was just kind of for convenience. I didn't really need the extra starlight to craft this altar. So, but now you can see this altar. It's not quite filled, but it's quite a decent ways up. And it should be enough starlight for all of our needs at the moment. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to get a telescope. This right here. Actually, I need to bring my crafting table up here. I don't know why I set it up down there, but that's fine. I can get that in a second. Okay, so we're going to have to make ourselves a glass lens, which is easy enough. I've actually got silk glass right here. Silk glass, you can just smelt it. It's just silt from the between lands, and you can make your panes that way. And it's just a little bit easier of a way to make stuff that requires a lot of panes. And a lot of recipes use either silk glass or glass panes, so try to grab most of the things that we're going to need, and then we can get our telescope crafted, because we're going to have to start getting into the constellations and stuff. So that's why we need the looking glass. Also, I did go ahead and get these right here. So we've got the 5 main constellations. Okay, now the looking glass, you need a clear line of sight to the sky above you. And then what we can do is we can hit right click, and I don't know if we're actually going to be able to get constellations here. It doesn't look like it. So let me pop back over to the overworld. We might be able to get them in the Twilight Forest, I don't know. But it's still a little while till night, so I am going to try the Twilight Forest. And then I might even try the Between Lands. I don't know if the Between Lands would actually give us constellations or not. I actually haven't looked around there to see if we can even find star fields in the Between Lands. But well, I'll tell you what, while we're waiting, we're going to go ahead and make the telescope instead of the looking glass. We'll go ahead and make the telescope because I do have the materials for that. And basically it's just an upgraded looking glass. It works pretty much the same, but we are going to be able to find more constellations quicker using that instead of using the looking glass. So the telescope, it just requires a looking glass and then sticks and wood. So, and gold. And we'll go ahead and get this thing crafted up. But as far as the way it works and everything, it's identical. It's just if you want to get into, you know, searching the stars and stuff sooner, probably should have gotten to it sooner because it's going to take a little bit for us to find all the constellations, chances are. But where we're going to get to today, we don't really need any specific constellations. We just need to find some constellations, and then it'll give me time to kind of find the ones that we need for next episode. Because I don't think we're going to get into the Mantle and the Stellar Refraction Table this episode. It'll probably be next episode. So, okay, the sun's starting to go down in the overworld, and I set our telescope up just on top of our Between Lands building for right now. I have a feeling we're going to be making a bunch of these once we get inside the castle for decorative purposes. But anyways, what we're going to do is, if we take a look in here, our Constellation Paper, right? We added those in, and so we know what these constellations are. So if we look right here, this is basically the shape. It tells you what the constellation looks like. And we're going to have to find these constellations and form these constellations in the sky. So let's see what we can come across. And what we're going to do, make sure you right-click the bottom of this, not the top. The top doesn't do anything if you click on that. So, but you can see we've already found a constellation here, and I believe, see if we can get this right. So this one connects to there, and then it connects down. This one connects over and connects up, and then this connects down, over. There we go. So we discovered the constellation Avitas. Okay, so we've got that one done. And then let's see, this would be the center. It would connect up. Yeah, this might be Evorsio, actually. Yeah, it is. And there we go. We discovered the constellation Evorsio. Okay, now that's the only constellations that I see in the night sky tonight. I mean, this is something that we're going to have to just kind of wait and get constellations as they come up, you know, as nighttime hits and everything. But we did get the first two, which is good. And if you look inside of the Constellations tab, like if you look at Armara, it doesn't really display anything. It's just all question marks. But if we were to look at Evorsio, for example, it tells you a little bit about it. It tells you the moon cycles. and when it's going to show up and everything. And then if you look right here, it tells you what it does with the refraction table and what it does with rituals. So we got, what was it, Avitas and Evorsio right now. Alright, one of the big ones that I definitely want to get is Vicio, but that's fine. I don't know why I'm going over here. My hunting dimension portal's right over here, but anyways, let's pop back into the hunting dimension. And that's something, it's going to take a few nights for all the constellations to come through. I will say the 5 primary ones tend to be a little bit easier to find, in my experience, than the secondary ones. The secondary ones, like if you take a look in here at the Constellation Papers, you can see like there is Decidia, Armara, Vicio, Avitas, and Evorsio. Or Evorsio, whatever. But then there's also Lucerna, Mineralis, and all these different ones. Like 6 of them or whatever. Those are all secondary. Like, you have your bright constellations, then you have your, I don't know, what's the term? Dim constellations, not so bright constellations, I don't know. But anyways, those, I don't even think you can even see those in the looking glass. I think you can only see the bright ones. But to get that constellation paper, we're going to have to get, from what I noticed, you can't get it with this recipe. You can only get it with the Iridescent Altar recipe, so we're going to have to wait until we get into that. So, which that's the final altar, which really isn't going to take that long to get up to. And we don't really need those constellations at the moment. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to want to get into is the Attunement. There's 2 things that we need. Well, we need a few of these things. The Attunement Altar requires rock crystal, and any kind of rock crystal, star metal, marble, but we're also going to need these Spectral Relays, which is more glass lenses. We're going to need gold nuggets, which I'm going to have to go pour some of these actually, and then wood, glass lenses. Okay, it's not too bad of a recipe. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a few of these, and we are going to need quite a bit of these Spectral Relays. I'm going to go with, let's see, you're basically going to need 1 for every star point. So if we went with like 7 for right now, I think we'd be good. Well, this one has 9, and then we also need 1 for the... I'm going to go ahead and just make like 10 of them for the time being. I think that'll be good. Or we'll make 11, actually. Just going to use up all these glass panes here. Okay. I love this altar because that's one reason I want to go ahead and upgrade, because now we have enough starlight that whenever I craft like 8 of those, it's just like, that's nothing. I can craft that with my eyes closed, so... okay, so I'm going to have to go get 22 gold nuggets. So, and then all that stuff. So I'll get all this stuff together, and then I'll be back here in just a second when we're ready to craft this up. And we are also going to need, if we take a look at the attunement page here, we are going to need a multi-block structure, but it's just marble. It's 4 rune marble, 80 marble arches, 225 sooty marble, 12 marble pillars, 4 chiseled marble. Actually, I'm going to have to go farm up more marble. That's fine. I had like 15 stacks of it or something originally, but I've been using up so much of it for building. So, I'll be back here in just a bit. Okay, I went ahead and laid out the altar that we're going to need. This massive structure. This thing takes a ton of marble. This is where the Attunement Altar is going to go. So, but anyways, we are ready to go. I went ahead and laid out the recipe for the Spectral Relays, so let's go ahead and get those crafted up. And there we go, there's 11 of those. And then we need the Attunement Altar. We are going to have to make a couple pieces of star metal, so we are going to have to craft that up. That's Illumination Powder, Nocturnal Powder. And I'm going to go ahead and set up a furnace so that we can smelt this stuff just on site for the time being. And still gotta get one more crafted up. Let's go ahead and get the smelting up. I'm gonna go ahead and make 3 pieces because we're going to need it. And then let's take a look at our Attunement Altar again. So it is 2 of these, aquamarine right there, right? And then we're going to need to get ourselves 4 runed marble, and then a rock crystal. Any kind of rock crystal will work. We'll just do like that. And we'll get our Attunement Altar crafting. And there's our star metal. We're gonna need that in just a second. So, but once we get through this stuff, we have a little bit more stuff to get through. But once we get through this, star metal and stardust, it's gonna be super easy. So, okay, so there is our Attunement Altar, and let's go ahead and throw this thing down. And then what we're going to do, we have to lay out. Let's see. Actually, I don't know how well this is gonna work. Normally, what you can do is you can put this in the offhand. Okay, it is working. Awesome. So where these purple orbs are coming up, I'm going to be doing Armara. Because that's what I want to infuse us with. And we're just going to use that for our general starting infusion stuff. For right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to place down Spectral Relays where all this purple stuff is. Which it's... Oh, it is nighttime in the overworld. So maybe... There we go. You can see that it's lifting the gold off of that. The little gold pieces off of that. So what happens is if we come in here and we stand in here, here we go. We're going to get infused with the power of Armara. Which Armara is like the defensive tree. Now, there's a number of different trees. The 5 bright nodes, the 5 that we have papers for, are the ones that you can infuse yourself with. Each one has different effects. One is offensive. One is defensive. One's for like building and stuff. It basically does like a bone meal effect around you and gives you a little bit farther of a reach. One is destructive, which does like faster mining and block breaking and some stuff like that. And one of them is travel, which is like speed increase. You get a 20% movement speed increase. Okay, so we are now infused. And if we open up our Astral Tome now, you can see it says perks. Okay, and it shows us, this is our perk tree. So right now, tough skin, you can see we have 1 point, reduces overall damage taken. We're going to go ahead and take that. So we'll just click it and unlock perk tough skin. What that does, it gives us a 10% damage reduction from all sources. So, which is pretty nice. But eventually, once we get like elemental shield, take less damage from elemental damage, it's 30% reduced damage from any kind of element, as well as explosion and stuff like that. There is also no armor, or not no armor is more. Phoenix Blessing right here can save you from death in dire situations. When you take a lot of damage or you get low health, it does have like a 50-second cooldown, I think it is, but it gives you a buff, which is going to generally keep you alive. So that right there, higher dex, is going to give you a 5% chance to totally negate any attack. It's like a dodge. So there's some pretty good stuff in here. I feel like there is an ability in the ores. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and take our rock crystal, one of these, and throw it down. And we're going to give it a second to get attuned to Armara. So it becomes an attuned rock crystal. But there is one that changes nearby stone blocks into just random ores. It's kind of nice in normal packs. I don't feel like it's that important in this pack. Because, you know, we just go out and we find a node, you know, and it's plenty of metals for us, so we don't actually necessarily need that, I don't feel like. Okay, so our rock crystal is attuned. We now have an attuned rock crystal. It's tuned to Armara. So the next step that I want to do, now that we've got that, and we've got our attunement started, we are going to use the attunement more here soon. We're going to do a mantle, probably next episode, so we have flight, which is awesome. Very, very good stuff. But the next thing that I want to do is I want to start working towards the floating crystals, these collector crystals. These are the ones that normally spawn in the world. Then, of course, there's the upgraded version as well. But for the standard collector crystal, it does require an attuned rock crystal. You cannot use a standard one. That's why I went ahead and attuned that one. And then we have to get Illumination Powder, Stardust. I mean, all this stuff we can pull off, but the resonating gems. We do have to make the Starlight Infusion Altar. So this, we're going to go ahead and get this thing crafted. And it is, that's why I made this other piece of star metal here. So that, and then we need 2 pieces of gold. And we are going to have to make a multi-block for this as well. Bucket of liquid starlight. Wait a second, is it, okay, the gold's up here actually. Aquamarine is there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get the Starlight Infuser crafting up. It's not too expensive at this point. Also, by the way, I've found all the constellations now, all the bright ones except for Visio. So hopefully that one should come up anytime now. Yeah, Galahad just said. Okay, there's our Starlight Infuser. I've got to find the multi-block. I think it might be an Attunement. But I'm going to pop into the overworld. I'm going to go get Visio, which is the last constellation that we need for the bright ones. And then in addition, it's the one that we're going to need for our Mantle, so that we can fly next episode. Like I said, my main goal right now is just to gun straight for easy star metal. And not have to... I hate having to craft it with that recipe. I cannot stand it. And having to go out pretty much and get Stardust in the world is no fun. So I'd like to get that stuff out of the way. Okay, I just got Visio. So I'm all set. I've got all of them. Galahad is going through. One of the secondary constellations only pops up like once every 36 days. So he is using blood magic, bad, and weak ritual stone and just cycling it right now. But anyways, here it is, the Starlight Infuser. It is in the last tab here. We need to make this multi-block, and it does require 12 buckets of liquid starlight. So luckily we've got tons of liquid starlight built up, but I am going to have to probably get a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a little bit more marble, and I'm going to get that structure set up, and then I'll be back here in just a second once we're ready to go to get that done. And then we can start getting easy star metal. Very, very easy star metal. Okay, I got our multi-block set up. So we've got our Starlight Infuser set up right there. And that is all done. And so then what we can do, what we're going to need to do, is we want to make a floating crystal, right? This does require the attuned rock crystal, and then I'm going to have to go get Stardust. That's fine. Let's go ahead and put this, we'll go ahead and set some of this up, though. We're going to need the 4 Illumination Powder. Is that right? Oh no, it goes out one. Right in there. And then we need the Stardust. Yeah, I am going to have to go get more Stardust. That's fine. And then what we can do is we need Aquamarine. We need the Resonating Gems. These are just made in Starlight Infusion. So we can just right-click them into there. I almost forgot. You have to right-click this. Shift-right-click it with the Resonating Wand. I was sitting here, I was like, no, wait a second. Did I set this up wrong? And I was like, oh yeah. You do have to start it. And we're going to go ahead and get 4 of these things crafted. Now there is a chance every time that it crafts that it's going to consume a little bit of this liquid starlight, like 1 bucket. It's not a very high chance. Normally, I mean, if you're crafting like resonating gems, I mean, it all comes down to RNG. I lost one right there. Generally, it's going to take a while, or, you know, it's fairly efficient on liquid starlight, so. Though it also depends on what you're doing. There are some recipes that... Oh, we lost another one already. But luckily I got the 4 resonating gems that we need. Now, one other thing that I am going to have to get is 1 more piece of Stardust. But then, after that is done, we no longer need to go out and find Stardust, like, anymore. Because it's going to be really easy to get Star Metal and Stardust. There is one other thing I'm going to need to make, though, and that is a linking wand. Let's take a look here. Or linking tool, I'm sorry. Aquamarine, rock crystal, sticks. I've got that stuff on me, so we are all set. Okay. And I'll tell you what, I know where one's at. I have not looted it because I was leaving it there, so I remember that there was rock crystals down there. But it's right here inside the base, actually. And instead I'll just mark it on Journey Map and I'll lose the above ground sample. So right here, right over here next to the castle, we'll go ahead and mark this as rock crystal. I'll try to drop down there here pretty soon and snag the rock crystal that's down there, but it's kind of funny because I actually cleaned that up, but it's still leaking through. Oh well. That's fine. Because there's not... Yeah, there shouldn't be... No, there's not a broken block anywhere or anything. Okay, well anyways, here is our last Stardust, and then... Here we go. We're going to get ourselves our floating crystal, and then we just need the linking tool. Like I said, I've got everything for this. It's looking like we'll probably just be covering Astral Sorcery, I think, for 2 episodes, because we've gotten the majority of the multi-blocks put out this episode. You know, most of the stuff is in here. All right, so we got our collector crystal. Actually, I probably should have used a better one, but that's fine. That's fine. It doesn't matter. In truth, this one is just going to be kind of a temporary setup to make star metal easier. Once we move over to the castle, we'll make better stuff. Because you'll notice the size, purity, cutting, all that stuff does matter, but that's fine. And you can see it says collect starlight from Armara. Basically, when Armara is out, it's going to speed it up, but it should work fine even without Armara being out. So to make our linking tool, it is just that. And then a rock crystal, a couple of those, and that. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's logs. That's fine though, I've got those too. And we'll get our linking tool. Okay, so there we go. Our linking tool is ready to go. And what we're going to do, we're going to set this up like, we'll put our collector crystal right here. Is fine. And you can see it's going to start shimmering. It's collecting starlight. Is what it's doing. And then what we can do is, I've got iron ore here. This is from the Twilight Forest, because standard iron spawns inside those hollow heels, and it spawns densely. I got 50 and didn't even fully clear, it was like a small, I think it was a small hollow heel. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click this. But anyways, it's sending beams of light over towards this iron ore, and then in a second. Okay, joke's on me. Because that's just totally disabled in this pack. I was thinking you'd still be able to do it, because it kind of makes sense. Like, you know, you work your way up through Astral Sorcery, you get your collector crystals, because, I mean, they're pretty late into progression. Well, I mean, it didn't take us that long to get to them, but, you know, I mean, even still, it's about towards the end of Astral Sorcery when you can actually make collector crystals. And then being able to have an easier way to make star metal, but no, you can't. Apparently, in a upcoming version of the pack, there's going to be an easier way to make star metal. But right now, and I don't think it's going to be the same as collector crystals. But so this collector crystal, I mean, the stats on it, they're not great. I mean, you can see it's terrible stats, really. But that's fine, because I'm planning on using a few of these for decor. So, I mean, if nothing else, you know, we've got them for that purpose. But what we're going to do is, and I've already got one of these running, I've already got one of these made, because they do take a while to make. But if we have a collector crystal set up, collector crystal just makes it faster, so that's why we're going to be using that. You don't have to use the collector crystal. But what we can do is we can put down a little bit of liquid starlight, and then we can drop a rock crystal into there, and then drop in some stardust. And we're going to see like some bluish particle effects coming up out of the water. And after this runs for just a minute, it's going to turn into a crystal cluster. Because this is going to make us a little bit easier of a way to get star metal. Or, I'm sorry, not star metal, but stardust. That's the worst thing, honestly. I mean, if I could just have good, easy stardust coming in, I can craft the star metal. It's not really ideal, but there's no real way around it within this pack. I still find that as a really odd choice to make that just uncraftable via the standard method. But anyways, you can see we have a crystal cluster. And what we can do is we can bind this down. And of course, that's just right click. And it's going to focus a little bit more starlight. You can actually make these, you can grow these without feeding them any starlight. Or any extra starlight. This just makes it a bit faster. The better your collector crystal, the faster it's going to be. Honestly, these collector crystals aren't that great. What we really want is these collector crystals, which are really the same exact recipe. Had I known that we weren't going to be able to make that, well, this still helps speed it up. And like I said, I'm going to use this for decor, so I have no regrets, I guess. But anyways, once it's grown, it's going to be about this size, and it's going to be emitting some particle effects. You can see some little white orbs coming up off of this. That means it's done. And I do suggest you wait for it to finish, because whenever you break it, when it's finished, you're going to get stardust. We got 2 pieces of stardust from that. And then in addition, we got a celestial crystal. So this right here. And that one's actually not too bad. Size 40, purity 83%, cutting of 65%. That's not too bad at all. We could still boost it. I mean, the size isn't great and stuff like that, but we can boost that. Now, this one I'm not actually going to boost, and that's because I need it for crafting. But as we grow these, you know, we are going to use them to make the collector crystals, and then we're going to make the multi-block and everything next episode. Because what I'm thinking is we're going to set up a little crystal growth area, and I'm actually going to set it up indoors because I think it would look better indoors. So I'm going to have to craft some stuff between episodes. Namely, I would like to get like some lenses and stuff, and I would like to get prism lenses. Because they allow us to split the beams, and that way we can have a nice growth chamber, with multiple crystals going at once, and having those grown, because it's really going to make getting stardust and stuff a whole lot easier. And then we're gonna get a really good crystal or 2 or 3 or 4, I don't know, to power that chamber, so that stuff grows a lot faster. So getting stardust at that point will be trivial, to say the least. I mean, it does require a rock crystal, but as you've seen, rock crystals are kind of a dime a dozen. In truth, so. But anyways, I'd like to go ahead and get 4 resonating gems real quick. And I did bring some more liquid starlight. I actually cleared out our first of those like little storage spaces. And did I use up? Oh my gosh. It's like really common in this pack. Because normally in the past, in other packs, like it's been pretty... I'm not going to say uncommon, but it's taken a few more crafts usually of like resonating gems before it uses up any of the liquid starlight, but it seems to be pretty often. Every other one, generally. Same spot, too. Same exact spot. But there's one more thing I would like to get, and honestly, I think I'm going to try to get a bit of building done between episodes. I'm going to try to get everything set up so that we can just be living in... have all this stuff set up in the overworld, because it's a little bit more convenient. Plus, I'd like to get these multi-blocks set up in a more permanent location, as that would be kind of nice in truth. But what I've got here, if we just put these resonating gems in here, we put our celestial crystal right there in the middle, it is the final tier of altar. I figured we'll go ahead and knock this out. We are going to have to make one new multi-block for this, which is this. But I'm not going to set this up just yet. Not to mention, when it comes to crafting with this, it is a little bit different. We'll get into that next episode because if you take a look at, say, the mantle, that's kind of what we're working towards, is like the mantles, If you take a look at the mantle, for example, you can see it's got a feather, an ender pearl, stardust, and star metal ingot that are kind of outside the crafting grid. Okay, you can see it did get, additional spaces like right in here on the cardinal directions, but then we have items that are outside of the crafting grid, and we'll get into that next episode. It does work up slightly different. But let's go ahead and get this thing crafted. Here we go. You can see the little particles change each time, and this one is like legitimate things going on, like just particles every which way, and beams going everywhere, and then we have this like swirling void beneath the altar. It is quite cool looking. But kind of what I'm thinking is we're actually going to use like collector crystals, we're going to use telescopes, we're going to use celestial collectors, all that. Okay, our vision expands, we learn more about radiance, and that is the final altar right there. That is the maxed altar, and now we have everything possible unlocked, aside from like some constellations and stuff, but we have everything unlocked within this. So we've got like our wand attunements, containment chalice, which is really useful. We're going to try to get into that. Ever-shifting fountain, necromantic prime, and the attuned resonating wand. So there is some really nice stuff. Honestly, it may end up being 2 more episodes of Astral Sorcery. I don't know, because there's actually a lot that I want to get into. Some stuff we're not going to get into yet. It'll be a little bit later on. Just whenever we get the need for it, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. But this is our final altar, and you can see it's totally different, right? We have all different kinds of stuff in the UI here, which we'll get into that next episode. I just kind of want to get this out of the way, get the last bit of the book unlocked, get the last altar made. I'm not, like I said, I'm probably not going to worry about setting up the multi-block until probably right before the next episode, because I'm going to want to put this, I think, in the overworld. So, but next episode, we are going to be continuing on with Astral Sorcery. We are going to be setting up a crystal cluster hatchery, or crystal cluster growth chamber, and then messing with prisms and moving starlight, as well as better collectors. We're going to get into the celestial collectors to power that, I think. We'll also probably get into raising stats on the crystals, because we definitely want some better stats. I mean, you could see these range all the way up to 100% purity, 100% cutting. 900 size. So I would like to make some better crystals, some better stats. So we'll cover that, and then we'll get the hatchery or the growth chamber up and going, and then we're going to get into flight and the stellar refraction table, and then we'll just kind of see where we get to from there. I would definitely like to get into the containment chalice maybe, but I definitely want to get flight and stellar refraction. So our mantle of the stars and our stellar refraction table. Anyways, I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode. I feel like we got a lot done. The majority of like astral advancement is out of the way. Oh, and one more thing I want to show you in the astral tome. If we open up perks, you can see I have gotten a little bit of XP. This is our XP bar over here, and this little yellow bar has filled up slightly. So basically with our perk tree, I mean, it depends on which perk tree you're going. There's 5 different ones, you know, one for each of the 5 bright constellations here. But depending on which one you go with, it's going to, the way you level is going to change, but it's generally going to be your skills. So tough skin reduces overall damage taken, so the way that we level this is we take damage. You know, tough skin's going to reduce a little bit of it, and we're going to get XP for that. Okay, but then, for example, whenever we get grants a chance to dodge incoming damage, then we'll get a little bit of XP every time that we dodge damage, in addition to reducing, you know, the tough skin XP. So you'll get more ways to kind of level it up as you go. So, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.